All right, so earlier tonight I said I would go live to talk about how to live free from shame, how to live without shame in your life ever again. Now, what is a certified ghostwriter, an author for hire? What does he know about shame? Well, let me tell you this. I'm ghostwriting my 74th, 75th, 76th books right now. Something that holds every author back, every aspiring author, every public figure, every celebrity even, is the most debased emotion, the worst experience a human can have in terms of their vibration. There's some science to this. Some call it pseudoscience. But if you look at the lowest vibrational emotional experience, it's shame. Shame is what says, oh, I can't say that. Shame says, well, they're not going to listen to me. Because what do they know about me? If they knew the real me, then they wouldn't listen to me. Shame keeps your creativity constrained. Shame keeps you from going for it. Shame keeps you from risking from it. Regardless of what walk of life you're in, what profession, shame will affect you. Shame will affect you. Shame is the ultimate demotivational experience that you can have. Shame keeps you from raising your hand. Shame keeps you from sharing that experience that everyone at the table needs to know. Shame keeps you from going for broke when you're authoring a book, when you're going to tell it like it is. Well, I can't say that. Shame is a self-imposed experience. It's unnecessary. What I'm going to be doing with you for the next few minutes is hypnotic. Hypnosis is the simulation of a new experience that changes your beliefs and your behaviors. You might find yourself experiencing a trance-like state. If you don't like the sound of that, then why don't you go let the newsfeed hypnotize you? Press the X, leave this video, mute me, scroll down and be entranced by something else. Or go look at porn. I don't do that. But these are various trance states. So what I'd like to do with you now is help you have a simulation of an experience, multisensory simulation, that is going to eliminate shame from your life so that you cannot be demotivated. The result of which is what? Motivation. Be it to tell the truth, be it to author the book, be it to finally launch that course you've been telling everyone else you're going to do, be it to repair a relationship with a spouse or a family member. When you are not demotivated, when you are feeling free from shame, the world is yours. Here's how you're going to do it. Are you ready? Good. Because before I do that, I want to give a nod to Scott Adams because the title of this video, Micro Lesson, comes from him. He has quite a few micro lessons on his locals platform. I like the way that he termed it, so this is a micro lesson on how to live free from shame. So here's how you're going to do it. I'm going to tell you a little story of how I experienced it myself. I'm driving down the road a few days ago, and I recall an experience, as these shameful memories often will do. They will find their way into your mind and into your emotions, just as you're having a good time, your mind is wandering, and you got things you have to do, and then you remember that one time you said that one thing. It was bad. You knew it. Everybody knew it. And nobody forgot. You didn't forget. So you told yourself, oh, it's bad. It's bad. You felt ashamed. Shame is that sensation you get where it feels like everyone's judgy eyes are on you. And the experience that you have is, I deserve this. I deserve the scorn. I deserve the look down uponness. That's what shame is like. It causes you to shrink up into a ball, almost. Or imagine a sponge that's getting squeezed out of water and it's getting all contorted. That's how shame feels within our insides. We are going to uncontort. We're going to bring the sponge of your soul, so to speak, into its normal, uncontorted, twisted form, its normal, healthy, off-the-shelf form. If you're ready to do that, listen to what happens next. I was driving down the road, listening to good music, enjoying a podcast, and then out of nowhere, I suddenly think of this particular memory. I felt so ashamed. Like, oh, I can't. If only people knew that I had said that, then, people still remember that. And I thought, wait a second. I remember that time I said that thing in front of bunch of people that as soon as I said it, they cringed, I crawled up inside and became that still twisted sponge with a life squeezed out of me, feeling the shame. Here is your, as Scots might say, reframe. So you will use this again and again whenever you feel shame. The shame that you might feel is now a trigger. For this new experience you're going to give yourself. It goes like this. As soon as you feel shame rising over an experience, something you did, something you said, whatever. It could be sin, it could be a gaffe, it could be a botch, it could be something stupid that you said or something that you did, or even a criminal record. Anytime you think of that, what you're going to do, you see yourself as that character, you now step back in your mind's eye. You step back from that experience that you had that you were feeling ashamed of. And you're now going to take that, almost like a costume. You see that? It's like a costume of the thing that you said, the thing you did. And you're now going to put that on a stranger. You're going to put it on a family member. You're going to put it on an old friend from high school. Just cycle through each of these different possibilities and see which one feels good. Put that costume on them. And then here's what you do. You ask yourself, how does it feel to you seeing someone that you know or someone that you don't having done or said the thing that you did or said? You don't care anymore, do you? It's like, what you might find, as I did, is that process of removing the costume of shame over what you said, what you did, and giving that to someone else, putting it on someone else, you realize you don't care. And then do this. If you're ready to go one step further. I think you are. Here you go. The thing that you said or did that you're ashamed of, who do you know who said and did that to? You got that person? What you do is you ask yourself, when was the last time you thought of that person saying or doing that thing? This is the question I ask myself. I'm sitting there feeling ashamed of myself and wallowing in self-pity and cringing over my own past experiences. I'm sitting there in the car and I say, wait a second. Do I know anyone who said or did this? I have to really think about it. I'm sitting there staring off into space for maybe 30 seconds. It's at that point I'm like, oh yeah, I think I remember such and such person saying something like that once, I think. How many times have you thought about that person without thinking about that shameful thing that they did or said? In my case, this was the first time I remembered it. And then I thought, oh, I am like that to everyone else. When people think of you and that shameful thing that you did or said, they don't think about that shameful thing that you did or said. They would have to stay off into space for 30 seconds to even remember that you did that you said that. They have to stare off into space and be prompted to recall that specific thing that you said or did that has brought you so much shame. These two little exercises where you visualize in your mind's eye physically taking off this costume of the shameful experience, what it is that you did or said that caused this experience of shame. You put that on a stranger or a family member, and you think about, well, how now do you see that person? I don't care. People look at you that way. I don't care. You said that. Or everybody does that. Who cares? And then the second activity is think of now a time when someone that you know did or said exactly what you did or said that you felt shame over. And then you realize this is the very first time you've ever remembered that person said or did that exact thing that you're sitting there feeling shameful over. And then you realize you have nothing to be ashamed of. Because shame requires a third-party observer. Or at least it requires the perception of a third-party observer. It requires an accuser. Interestingly enough, that's the name of the devil in the Bible, Satan, meaning the accuser. And so when you realize that there's not anyone actually there accusing you, you don't have anything to be ashamed of anymore, now do you? There's no one, look at what that person said or did. Because we have this perception that there is an accuser who's looking at us, pointing at us, reminding us of how awful we are. But when we go through this exercise and we realize that everyone else is doing the same thing, either not caring about it or accusing themselves of all the things that they're shamed over, that they said and done, there's no one looking over your shoulder at you anymore. You're the only person who remembers. You're the only person who cares. Shame needs audience. And when you realize that there's no one over your shoulder, there's no one speaking into your ear, there's no one pointing a finger at you, there's nobody. It's like an empty meadow where all you can hear are like maybe crickets, a couple of birds. That's the audience of that thing, for that thing that you said and that you did, which is causing you shame. This is the sum total of people you care. Look at that audience out in that meadow. Some birds, cricket, occasional breeze for the leaves. That's who's looking at you, accusing you. There's nobody there. The result of what you have taken away from tonight, what you are bringing into yourself, is such that the next time you feel that, oh, everyone's looking at me. Oh, I can't believe I said that. I can't believe I did that. Oh, that memory. It kind of haunts you. A specter, kind of a ghost. When that comes up, you will realize your group of accusers is that meadow. Nobody there. You'll also realize that when you think of someone else, stranger or friend, doing that thing you did, saying that thing you said, which causes you to feel shame, you think of someone else doing it, not only do you really not care, but you know what you find yourself doing? You find yourself making excuses for them. You find yourself saying, oh, it's not that bad. Oh, nobody cares. I would have done that too. You find yourself apologizing for this hypothetical person doing that thing you did or you said. That's how people think of you. Again, are you with your satanic finger, because remember Satan means the accuser, are you pointing, saying, look at what you did? Are you doing that? No, you're not doing that. And then when you run through the exercise of thinking through a time that you saw someone that you currently know, you heard someone say, that you currently know, did, do, or say that thing that you did or said, which has caused you to feel shame, when you think of that person, you realize that you interact with that person and you have forgotten that they did or that they said that. And then you realize when people interact with you, even the people who were there, who could have pointed the finger, who could have satanized you, they don't remember that. They don't care. In fact, it's also possible that in those moments when they were observing you, their eyes were glazed over and they were thinking about the game they saw last night. Or they're thinking, man, I haven't had sex in 6 days. Or they're thinking, it's really, really hot in here. I'm kind of hungry. I saw somebody have a Diet Coke. I really should stick away from Diet Coke. Meanwhile, you're over there doing things that later cause you to feel shame, and everyone else is looking at you in their own trance-like state, perhaps reacting to you, not even taking in that that's what's happening in the first place. So what we've been doing in the past few minutes is we have gone through a series of multisensory episodes, simulations we've run, both real-world memories we've drawn from, and also hypotheticals. What we have done is we have destabilized shame. We've made it unnecessary. We've also replaced the sponge getting squeezed and contorted, the life squeezed out of it, which is how shame often feels. We've realized that no one's looking at us. There's no squeezing happening. The eyes of others, which had done the squeezing, there's none of that. It's an open hand. And there is the life, your little soul sponge, you might say, right there. It's just right there. No squeezing happening whatsoever. It's fine. That's you. Which means you can go freely into the future, realizing that any memories that come up, you can simply take them off of you in your mind's eye, step back from them. You might even need to step back physically, and put them on a stranger or family member, and look at the person having done or said that thing which had caused you to feel shame. You take it off, you put it on someone else, and you realize that how you feel about the other person is how you are now allowed to feel about yourself, which is the opposite of shame. which is not demotivating, which is to say motivating. And so I do this sort of work with authors, particularly those who are public figures, who have had things that they have done which they are not proud of. Be they illicit sexual experiences, be they actual crimes, be they, let's say, unprofessional or amateur things that they did when they felt like they had known better. And these things that cause them to have a ripple effect, well, I can't say that I stand for this and believe this sort of thing because of that other thing I did a long time ago that makes me feel ashamed, and if only people knew. Well, the fact is nobody cares. And so when you remove the if only people knew and you realize that there were already people who knew and they didn't actually care, when you fix that, when you cut off that poisonous thinking upstream, downstream all you have is a pure experience. You can tell the story you need to tell. You can release the course you need to release. You can write the sales copy you need to write. You can author the book that you need to author. And this is what I learned as the world's first and only certified ghostwriter and certified hypnotist. This is what we do. And so I release you from the shame and also release you from this experience, knowing full well that the next time, because there always is next time, shame comes up, it is now a reminder that can make you smile. Oh yeah, I get to run this simulation in which I feel better about myself and about other people. So now it's a good thing. You can look forward to it, because afterwards you'll feel better than you had before the little costume of shame came along and came off you and went on to somebody else. Hope you have a great night. Enjoy this micro lesson. Please share if you did. And this is the part where I get to keep tapping the next button like a noob and realizing I don't know how to press the stop broadcast button. I really should find a